always run to my mailbox every month to get my new books. And this month, my hero and inspiration, the Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith, is on the cover of The Science of Mind. And so as I was meditating this morning, asking for where to go, it stopped at, where I put my little thingy here. It stopped at the reading for actually Monday, May 21st. So I decided that I would go ahead and look at it. And it was interestingly and wonderfully appropriate. It says, "Judge not." In the last analysis, I can't see with my glasses on anymore. In the last analysis, every judgment of the other person is, importantly, a self-judgment. And that's by Howard Thurman from For the Inward Journey. And the next quote is from Ernest Holmes, from The Essential Ernest Holmes. "There is no judgment, no condemnation, no criticism." I want you to let those sink in for a minute. Because with a lot of what's going on in the world today, so many of us sink into judgment, criticism. And what I'd like to offer you is the idea that if we are co-creators with the universal principle that we call Father, Mother, God, then what we are judging and criticizing is a reflection of what we are projecting. So let's just think about that for a little bit as I share with you the reading. Some of my biggest lessons have come in moments when I have judged another, or a circumstance. This is from Thurman, Howard Thurman. When I judge another, I judge myself. As much as I might not like it, the truth is that those whom I judge are mirrors reflecting my own self-judgment. I have the opportunity to do what Thurman describes as a self-encounter, a time for me to take a look at myself. The same is true when I judge myself harshly. In both instances, I must let go of judgment to be fully free. And that's the other side of this coin, is we have to love ourselves enough to love one another. Yep. I know for me, I'm my biggest critic. I hold myself to a pretty high standard. When something in my life is not going the way I perceive it should be, the first thing my spiritual path asks of me is to look at where am I contributing to this. And I invite each of you as New Thought practitioners, and I say practitioners in as far as we are practicing New Thought principles. I ask you to look at that because we are all one. Yes. And whatever we think about, whatever we project, we are one and a part of it. It goes on. Another lesson I have learned is the difference between judgment and discernment. That's actually in our guiding principles in our membership classes. And for those of you that haven't taken one, we'll be having one at the end of the summer. When I am in discernment, my inner voice quietly guides me as I make decisions. And as things unfold, I have a better understanding of the guidance. It is not harsh or judgmental. I can recognize the wholeness of a person, situation, or circumstance, rather than judging based on an incomplete picture. It took me a long time to see the difference. I know I am not alone in my quest to practice discernment and release judgment. Judgment is a frequent habit to release when I facilitate visioning workshops and gatherings. This, by the way, is, of course, Michael Beckwith speaking. It stands in the way of fully becoming that through which the vision can manifest. We must first release the way in which we judge another and what happens in our lives to be an open channel for the vision. Spirit does not judge us, and neither should we judge anyone or anything, including ourselves. And now take a breath as I share with you his affirmation as we go into contemplation. Breathing deeply in. I release all judgment about myself and others. Close your eyes. I release all judgment about myself and others. And we breathe together, one breath, one life, one love. We focus on the beating of our heart and know that each beat can be an affirmation. I love and I care. Breathe. I am love. I give love. I receive love. Breathe. And as we're sitting in this place of peace, allow yourself to roll your shoulders back and open your heart even more. Breathing that peace and calm and love. In breath, out breath. I am peace. I am love. I am peace. I am love. And as we allow ourselves to focus on the feeling of peace and love, let us think in our lives about a place, a person, a situation that we currently hold in judgment. And let us recognize the divinity of that situation, the part of us that rises above the material physicalness of the situation and sees the divine plan that it's bringing to us as an opportunity to grow into our God self. Breathe. And now, as we do from time to time, let us practice the Ho'oponopono as we direct it to the energy of that situation, lifting it up. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And on the last one, we change it a bit. And we say, I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. I'm sorry. Feel the release. It's not about forgiving, it's about receiving an equal exchange of love and perfection. I love you. And now, as you feel that love spreading through every cell of your body, see your own eyes. I love you. I accept you in all your perfection. I thank you for the opportunity that is present in our life to grow, to experience, to love. Take a breath. Put your hands together, palm to palm, in front of your heart, and lift them to your head, connecting heart with mind, and then release them to open palm as we say together the Hindu word for peace. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May peace prevail on.
This morning I'm speaking on the yearning. The yearning. To understand the nature of an innate inner yearning is the first step to the journey of awakening. There's a saying that I wanted to give to you today. It says, "In a space between two worlds, I sit like a butterfly, caught ever so slightly, but tightly in the remnant of my opened cocoon. I remember the many feet that I had and the many steps that I took to travel even a short distance when I was in the earth. I'm free. Really, I truly am, except for one seemingly heavy thread that keeps me attached to my open cocoon. How can one thread of this womb of sleep that kept me so safe in rest, surrendered to the will of God, now become the binding rope of attachment that keeps me from the new freedom I know and feel?" I'm sharing that with you because I feel this is where a lot of us are. That the cocoon of who we have been has been opened, and we have a vision of seeing who we are to become. But yet we continuously keep dealing and being pulled back to old third-dimensional human challenges. There's a reason for that. If the universe allowed us to totally lose that last thread that connects us to the third, we'd be no good to them that are still in the third dimension. We have to learn how to balance being in two worlds, or being between two worlds, as Greg Braden puts it. Between two worlds. There's a place in the Bible that says, "Who will stand in this gap and make up the hedge?" Yeah. And I believe you and I, even before we came, may have said, "I'll go." And then we went, "Oh, what did I say?" But we have chosen to be here at this time of tremendous transformation of what we have been, represented by the caterpillar, who slowly takes forever to get across a leaf, but becomes this wonderful butterfly. When enough of us are focused and functioning from the deeper levels of spiritual DNA, seeing DNA as divine nature attributes, we will be in a position of a possible collective consciousness raising. Yes. Now, when this happens, we will become something completely other, as the analogy of the caterpillar awakening to be the butterfly. Now, this is why, in singing the song we did a while ago, I introduced to you about the cells of my body, that we are new beings. It's actually in the song New Creations. We're new creations. Yeah. That actually we are having an inner yearning to move forward into the next step of the awakening of our consciousness and the evolution of our consciousness, and what does it mean to be a human on planet Earth. I was teaching this morning over there the fact that we have spent the last 10,000 years trying to develop some kind of an identity. Ego. Ego is not really a bad thing if you create ego that is from the identity of the true self. But unfortunately, we have bought more into letting the outside world, such as culture, society, religions, education, etc., form us a self that we were not created to be, called a pseudo-self. And because we have believed that, we have placed our power into that. And even though it's not real and in itself an illusion, it becomes real with our reality that we transfer to it. And we do that because we say the term, I believe. What you believe transfers your power to it. And what you believe may be totally an illusion and not real, but it becomes real to you with your own power. This is why we have to reach a level of consciousness where we have to realize, where do I want to invest my power? What I'm talking about today is actually from something I'd read some time ago called divine discontent. Now, I feel as a human being, I was born with a yearning within me to know. I've always been a person that felt I was on some kind of an adventure, some kind of a quest. I'm a why person. There's too much of how and what. A lot of people can tell you what to do and how to do it, but why do we do it? Why are you here? Why have you been drawn here today? Why have many of you come out of your childhood Orthodox religions, or wherever you come from as a renegade? Has anybody here been born and raised in New Thought? I think we found one over at Unity. Yeah, that actually was raised in a Unity New Thought church. But most of us can all say we've come from something else and somewhere else. And it's that yearning that gave you the strength and the power to stand up against tribes, society, and culture and say there's got to be more than this. How many of you said in Sunday services as a child, as a young person, and said, wait a minute, this is not connecting to what's in my heart? I don't know this God they're talking about, but I know this God and presence that is within me. I sat there as a young man in the fundamentalist churches hearing about things that I am and how sinful and wrong that it was. If I'd have bought into that, I would have even hated myself even more. But I kept coming back home to my heart, and I kept saying, wait a minute, I don't feel that. I don't feel this kind of vindictive God. You know. Course of Miracles helped me so much with such scriptures as vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Which the ego projects as God is vindictive. God doesn't mess with people that don't mess with him. But A Course of Miracles says, no, that's incorrect. What it means, you are vindictive with each other, and bring that vindictiveness to me. I can handle it for you. Bring your darkness to me. I'm light, and I will dispel it immediately and show that it does not exist. Let me handle it. You quit trying to handle it among yourselves. I can absorb it and take it into myself. Divine discontent is a form of friction which is more of an internal stress than an outer stress that we are seeing with increased frequency. Now, being born with a yearning, I have tried my best to fulfill that yearning. Yearning to be the best David I can be. When I got in the ministry, the best ministry that I could be. The best lover I can be. The best father when I had a child I could be. The best grandfather that I had my grandchildren I want to be. But everything always seems to fall a little short of my expectation, as Rebecca was saying. And of course that ends up with the ego giving ammunition to us to judge ourselves. And then religion doesn't help by coming and saying we're born in sin and we got to take Adam's mistake on us and all that kind of thing. And as through the years, and I've been in this a lot of years, I have sensed a different kind of yearning that isn't David's yearning for success in the world. Now, I happen to love cars. I love living in a nice place. I mean, those are things that I thought I really want to attain as a human being. And I've attained some of those things at times, but still did not quench the yearning that is in the center of my soul. Nothing material. The right job, having lots of any amounts of money or people did not touch this yearning in me until I finally found out that that yearning was not my human yearning, but it was my divine yearning. As I've said to New Thought people, we must not be totally content with this whole idea of going within. It's been wonderful. Thank goodness for different ones that has brought that to us in the West, such as Shirley MacLaine. I was traveling every weekend back in those days when she was writing her book, and I would see that book on the plane. Next week I'd see 2 people. Next week I'd see 5 people. And people were talking about it, and people were getting back into meditation. Transcendental meditation was making a comeback, and it was just in to meditate by going within. And we all still must experience that which is within us. But have you ever thought that that is within you yearns to come home with you out here? Don't visit it. Let it come home. Oh, I just feel so peaceful when I go within and do my mantra. And I just get that 20 minutes twice a day. If I can work it in at all. And if you don't, then you feel guilty because you didn't. Don't get into that kind of thing. But we all love to go within and shut the world out for a few minutes or however long and just be in the presence of that is within us. But the world needs that presence.
Yes.
It's crying out for that presence. I'm going to jump here, Tim, to something toward the end, but if I want to do it, I want to give you a scripture in Romans 8 and 19. The earnest expectation of the creature, that means humanity, the creature, waits for the manifestation of the children of God. For we know that the whole creation groans and travails and yearns in pain together now. And not only they, but we ourselves. See, that's the thing. Just because I'm up here in this position and Rebecca's in the position and we've been in New Thought for a while and we know how to do meditations, we know how to do all those kind of things, doesn't mean we don't have our own groanings going on. Don't let this nice tie and all of that fool you that this is totally me 24 hours a day. This is my ministerial facade. I dress for myself. I told everybody recently, I said, don't look for this summer because I will not be wearing coats and ties. But don't think this is me 24 hours a day. It's not. I too have the same groanings that I feel is going out there in the political arena, the educational arena, the science arena, the religious arena. All of the systems of the world has an innate groaning within it to be more than it is, but it doesn't know how to do it.
Right.
So the laws of the universe are working on this. So again, divine discontent is a form of friction that is more than internal stress. It is more of an inner divine increase in frequency. This type of stress is due to an inner pushing from higher spiritual levels, which seeks to remind us at a conscious as well as an unconscious level of the desire to give greater expression to the divine qualities of the authentic self. In other words, the authentic self is being awakened by all that this we're doing, all these classes we're doing, all the readings we're giving you, all of the meditations, all of the prayers. What is offered here at New Thought is to feed that inner authentic self to grow and to manifest more and more. We're not trying to save you. We're not trying to convince you of a particular belief system or dogma or doctrine. We are here as a community to give you a safe space that your inner self can come out and play. Let it come out and play. Let it come out and play in the dance. Let it come out and play in song. Let it come out and play in the wonderful time that you greet each other and love each other and hug one another. This is not for our enjoyment alone. It is for the purpose of the coming of the Christ. You've heard, He's coming. This is the coming of the Christ. The first coming is when you know that the Christ is in you and is a part of who you are. The second coming is when it comes out and manifests as your life.
That's good.
Manifest as your life. I can't do it. I've been trying to do it for 50 years. I've tried to, as a young Christian young man, I tried my best to please God. I wanted to live my life for God. And I failed and I failed and I failed. This is what they said it was.
Yeah.
Pray without ceasing. Try that one. I was 16 years old when I started this, and I even played hooky and stayed home. My parents would go to work, and I'd come back, and I thought, I gotta pray. And I'd pray, and I'd pray, and I'd pray, and I'd pray for everybody, and I'd pray for the dog, and I'd pray for everybody, and I'd fall asleep. I thought, oh, guilty again, I sinned. I prayed again. I took it literal. I was told this was all literal stuff. So, divine discontent. Now let me finish this that I was reading to you a while ago. For we know that the whole creation groans and travails in pain together until now, and not only they, but we ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit. What you and I represent is what everybody will eventually get to. I believe that. I believe in what's called universal reconciliation of all things. I used to be in a movement called that. We had great conventions and whatever, but it was people who believed that from a fundamentalist point of view, everybody will be returned back into God. That nothing will be lost. And I still believe that. I believe that every person will attain to their identity. Maybe not at the same time.
Right.
For the Bible says every man shall be in his own order in the resurrection. But there's a first fruits, people.
Yeah.
A first fruits. I'm not a farmer, but I know that you go out and plant crops. There's always those that ripen first.
Yeah.
And what they're saying is the rest are coming.
Right.
Don't get discouraged. You that have family and friends that give you a rough time and want to beat you over the head with the Bible and fundamental thinking and all of that, and you think it's hopeless. No, it's not. Trust me, life has some things up its sleeve that can break the shell to bring forth the fruit of each and every one of us. You plant a seed out there. It's not the seed that's going to come up. The seed of corn is not what's going to come up. It's what's in the seed. The fruit is in the seed. The DNA of the corn is in the seed. But it's never going to happen until that seed dies away. And to do that, it takes moisture and fertilizer. Sometimes it takes the fertilizer of life to break it. Some of you know what I'm talking about, that has been some very difficult illnesses or different things in your life that has broken the shell of your outer human personality. That's because the inner fruit wants to come forth. How can you have corn without the shell dying away and the fruit in the right environment and atmosphere coming fruitful? I don't think the world is looking for the principles and the beliefs and ideas of New Thought. I think they're looking for people in New Thought to manifest the New Thought into the world. They're not on a run here because they want to learn about unconditional love. They're looking for the manifestation of unconditional love in a people.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the coming of Christ.
Yeah.
Do they see the divine in you through your life, your personality, what you emanate out from that place? Divine discontent frequently comes after a gradual shift in thinking and moves people to listen to their intuitive inner direction and higher spiritual guidance. And this inner guidance may provide avenues of alleviating inner conflict and discontent by suggesting a need for some type of personal change, which could be mental outlook, patterns of behavior, lifestyle, career, direction. And I close with this last thing from the psalmist, who says, "As the hart panteth after the brook, so panteth my soul after thee." Now, heart there is not the heart, H-E-A-R-T, it's H-A-R-T, which is a baby deer or fawn. But it's using this as a symbol of the fact that there is that within us that yearns for the truth that will make us free. Not truth that will take us out of the world, but a truth that will leave us in the world but not be of the world. I know that every one of you, if you at all are connecting to anything I'm saying, know that you have that internal yearning that is beyond your human desires and human needs. God is desiring to be manifest. Christ is desiring to be manifest. The higher attributes of the authentic self is desiring and yearning to be made manifest. If not, then we're another religion. We're another religion. We don't need another religion.
Right.
We need to see the coming of the living Christ presence made manifest in a collective people. To me, this is what my vision for us to be, is this to be this place dedicated for the yearning that is within us to come forth and manifest. And what that's going to be is being more guided spiritually. There's not going to be so much thinking about what we should do and not do and how to do it and whatever. There's going to be more space made to become a more guided
That's good.
people. That was one of my great attractions to come here and to be with Reverend Rebecca, because I felt that she had that yearning in her for more space to be made here, for spirit to come through. I think we've gone as far humanly as we can kind of go with this thing. Now we need to hand it over to that spirit that is within us and say, teach me, lead me, and guide me into what is truth. Is that all right?
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
Very good.
So it is.
So it